Hey everybody, welcome to another video with me, Kris Amerikos, and this one is all about how to learn English with movies. I love movies, everybody loves movies, I think. And watching movies can really help you learn a language, especially if you watch the right movies and you watch them the right way. So in today's video lesson, I'm going to tell you how you can use movies to improve your English. So most of the students who join my speaking program think that they just should speak and speak and speak and speak, and that's how they're going to get better. And I understand why everybody thinks that just speaking will help you learn the language. But usually it's not that simple. You need to also listen to what other people say, right? You need to listen to what other people say, and you need to understand what they say so that you can say the right thing back to them. So listening and speaking are connected. And that's why watching movies can be really useful, because you're listening to what they're saying and you need to understand what that means. Then you need to understand why that's important to the next step of the movie, right? The next scene, the next thing that happens in the movie. So what we need to do is when we watch a movie, we need to think of it as an English lesson. A lot of times when people ask me questions about how they can study English with movies, they forget that watching a movie is like sitting down and studying an English lesson. So there's not exactly homework, or there's not exactly a clear teacher who's teaching you something, but in an English lesson, which is a movie, instead what you do is you take notes. You listen to what they're saying and you try to understand what they're communicating, and you try to understand the context, right? Films and TV shows are really good at showing us a situation, and then we can understand that situation and we can then use this in real life, right? Maybe somebody's getting married in the film that you're watching and they say a special phrase, and then the next time when you have speaking practice with someone, they talk about getting married, and you can say this phrase now, right? So you can imitate, you can copy what they do in the film. Now, here's how you should study English from movies. You should not just sit down and watch the movie and then be upset that you didn't understand anything. Sometimes people ask me how they can improve their English with movies, and they get upset that they can't just sit and watch. Well, it's not just a movie for you, it's an English lesson. So when you sit down to watch a movie, you should sit down with a pen and a piece of paper, or a notepad with lots of pieces of paper so you can write down all of the notes. Every time that you don't understand something, you should pause and you should take a note. Now, people tell me, Kris, that's not going to be a lot of fun, right? I'm watching the movie because it's entertaining, because that I don't want to have to work for it. I'm sorry to say, but you have to work for learning a language, right? You have to actually put in the work. You have to learn the words, you have to use them, you have to write them down in your notes. So when you're watching a film, a TV show, my first suggestion is make sure that you get something that you can understand. This is the same as my advice about books. So if you watch like a minute of this film and you don't understand any words at all, then this is too difficult for you. Just like if you read a book, you're trying to decide which book to read, you open the book, you see a page, and if you don't understand any of the words, well, it's going to be really, really difficult for you. So instead, you should find something where you understand at least 80% of the words, at least 80%. It's better if it's 90%. And it's a proven fact that when you study using material where you understand 80 to 90% of the words already, then the new words you're able to learn much better and faster, and they'll stay with you. So that's why you should do it that way. So in the beginning, maybe that means that you need to watch children's cartoons, children's programs, children's shows, children's films, animated films. Maybe that's what you need to do in the beginning, and that's okay. Even if you're not a child, you can watch them and you can learn a lot. So find something that is the right level for you so that you understand most of what's happening, And then when you hear new things, you can pause and you can write them down. Now, you want to write them down, and maybe you'll want to write the translation to help you remember the first time that you watch. Because we're not going to just watch one time, we're going to watch the same thing again and again and again, at least 2 times, probably 3 times. So the first time that we watch, this is what we're doing. We're watching and we're writing down notes. We're pausing, writing down notes. The first time you're watching, maybe you watch with subtitles too, right? You're watching with subtitles and then you say, oh, they said this thing, I didn't understand it, but here's what the subtitle says. So you write it down, you figure out what it means, and then you come back and you play. So it's not a lot of fun. You're pausing and writing and looking in the dictionary and trying to understand what these words mean. Next, the second time that you watch it. Now you can close your notebook and only open your notebook when you, again, don't remember something, just to check what that meant, right? Because you've already written everything down. Also, you can challenge yourself to watch it without the subtitles. Now, some people like to turn off the subtitles the third time that they watch it. Some like to do it the second time. But the idea is that as you start to understand more of what it means and remember the different meanings and the different things that you learn, then you won't need to look at the subtitles, because now you'll start to understand the flow of the conversation. You'll start to pay attention to new things. Instead of just thinking about what words mean, you're going to think about their pronunciation. You're going to think about the situation that the word was used in. You're going to think about other things, not just translations of words and not just the same things that you thought about the first time that you watched it, right? Now, when you're watching a movie, a film, by the way, what's the difference between a movie and a film? Well, movie is more American English and film is more British English. In fact, where do you go to watch a film in a public place? You go to a cinema, right? That's in British English, people usually say cinema, but in American English, people usually say movie theater. So this is the difference, really. There's no difference. It's just American English and British English. So it's good to know both. And there are lots of different types of films that you can watch, but I really think that children's films that are made for children, are the best place to start for anybody. I mean, for me, when I'm trying to learn another language, I like to go and look at children's films and TV shows to understand some basic ways that people use the language, right? Things that people say and things that they do. It's really interesting to see what people teach children in shows and in films. So when you're watching and you're trying to learn, you want to pay attention to how people speak and the pronunciation of the words also. Pronunciation can be really good, but you have to be careful because in many films, English speakers and actors speak with an accent. Because in English, there are lots of people from lots of places, they all have different accents, and in a film, usually the actor wants to show that the person who they are in the film comes from a specific place. So if that character, if that person in the film is from Ireland, then they'll have an Irish accent, or they'll try to. If that person comes from India, they'll have an Indian accent. If they come from Russia, they'll have a Russian accent. So we need to be careful because just because somebody says something in a film, it doesn't mean that it's always correct, right? If you're watching a film about Shakespeare, then they're going to use a lot of old words that we don't use today. And if you're watching a film about war and fighting in the army, then you're going to use a lot of words that people don't use in real life, right? Just in those situations, they might use them, but in everyday life, people don't usually talk about those things. So you need to think about the film that you're going to choose, the topic of the film, what it's about, and that's why I think watching films and TV shows made for children is the best place to start, because we're talking about basic things that a person needs to learn in their life. And when you're learning a new language, you're learning the basic things again. So I hope this video helps you understand a little bit more about how you should learn from movies and films in English. If you like this video, go ahead and press like. Leave a comment down below if you want to write something and let me know, or if you want to suggest a topic for my next video. And you can also share this with anybody who you think might find it useful. And if you press that bell notification, you'll get notified the next time I put out a new video, which is every week. So yeah, you'll probably like that. And if you want to practice your listening and speaking skills, you can join our speaking program where you can speak 24/7 every day. Just click the link under this video. Thanks again. I'll see everybody next time. Bye-bye.